Good morning, everybody. This is a quick little impromptu video. Very early, only halfway through my coffee fill for today, and everybody is nervous about where we are going next. Is MicroStrategy going to be included or not? We're going to answer that today, and we're going to look at all the data. And let's jump into it. Thank you all for coming. Not financial advice, of course. First of all, a little bit of news. You can see here, Bernstein maintain a $600 price target on MicroStrategy, which is pretty cool. And the price of MicroStrategy as I speak is $399. So that's a pretty big gain. And Bernstein are very familiar with Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Also, Barclays, out of nowhere, up their target from $275 to $515. Barclays is a very conservative financial firm. So that's a little bit of good stuff. And shout out to Vivek. Vivek, he say yes. MicroStrategy will likely be added to the NASDAQ 100 today. This is what stirred a lot of questions and a lot of attention. And you can see here the weighting would be basically half of 1% of a $550 billion fund, which has a huge impact. That's why we're talking about it. Now, let's look at the odds. Polymarket Odds say a 76% chance. Polymarket has been very accurate about a lot of stuff lately. The question is, will they continue to be right? But the point of this, though, 76%, that is not 100%, which means there technically could be a 24% chance that we do not get added. Be kind but true. Good to see you. Fingless Cave, and shout out as well to Sir Winston. Thank you all. Good morning, Sacramento. We got Sacramento in the house. Wow, crazy. I drive through there all the time. Anyway, let's look at other stuff too, not just Polymarket Odds, but who else is placing bets? And this is kind of fascinating. Monster call option bets, basically for next week. $525 strike. That is $125 out of the money. And somebody's throwing $1 million at this trade and many others. I saw a massive trade as well a few seconds ago come in over the wire for today. So there is a lot of expectation. There is a lot of speculation. But I'm not seeing it in the price right now as we speak because Bitcoin is shooting up. $1,267 is now $101,400. MicroStrategy is hanging on like at 400. It's just really stable, really quiet. But let's get into some of the details that we need to understand behind the belly of this. First of all, look at the players. It's from Logan. Logan, not much else needs to be said when you look at the institutional ownership of MicroStrategy today. Citadel, huge hedge fund. Jane Street, huge hedge fund. Susquehanna, huge hedge fund. Capital International, Vanguard, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, Wolverine, Graham Capital, State Street, Peak 6, Walleye Trading, Geode. A lot of these players are big Wall Street hedge fund players. They are speculating on addition. Some of them are institutional owners through ETFs, etc. But this is a big sign. These guys, if they are correct, they are front-running the funds that will be forced to buy that run QQQ funds. Okay, that's going to be key. Citadel, again, Citadel have their fingers into everything, kind of like BlackRock. So this is an interesting sign as well. Let's look at another piece of breaking news which ties into BlackRock. And this took me aback. This took me by surprise. BlackRock came out with another paper. They had one last year, but nobody believed it to be real. But this one talked about actually recommendation of Bitcoin bag size. And you can see the range varies depending on your 60-40 portfolio. And by the way, they're still pushing a 60-40 portfolio. Who the hell buys bonds? Who the hell allocates 40% of their bag to bonds? That'd be ridiculous. And in full disclosure, I've never bought a bond in my life. And look at me. Anyhow, the average Mag 7 allocation is about 4%. And they recommend, depending on who you are and your situation, your allocation to Bitcoin should be very different. Between 2, 5, and 14%, depending on your situation and your time frame, which is nuts. And this is reflected in the insane BlackRock IBIT Bitcoin ETF purchases. Yesterday, we had another monster day for ETFs. The month has been insane, 4.4 billion by my records. 46,000 Bitcoin were purchased in 9 trading days. Remember, only 450 are issued a day. That is freaking nuts, everybody. People are saying, oh, we're worried about the long-term holders selling. It doesn't freaking matter, everybody. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Don't believe the nonsense on crypto Twitter. Anyway, this new report from BlackRock today recommends at least 1 to 2% exposure to Bitcoin ETF. It's the first time they gave a very specific number. Again, this is nuts. This is bonkers. Every day this month has been very positive for the ETFs. And the red line you see there on the chart is BlackRock. They run 11 trillion, and they're telling their $11 trillion of customers that have assets with them to put at least 1 to 2% of exposure to Bitcoin. Do the math at home, kids. What's, say, 1.5% of $11 trillion? Drop a comment below. I'll check your homework. Next. So, the big question is MicroStrategy a tech company or a FinTech company or a financial services company? So you could argue, this is kind of weird, you could argue that Bitcoin is a technology, which is the technology code underpinning the blockchain, but BlackRock stack Bitcoin. Now, MicroStrategy stack Bitcoin. I'm getting confused. Again, not enough coffee. I did warn you. But MicroStrategy's inclusion in the NASDAQ 100 is debatable due to its focus on Bitcoin holdings rather than new technology development. They are originally a software company and basically BI, business intelligence company, for the longest time. But MicroStrategy now have a big reliance on Bitcoin. The question is, how does this pan out? How will the decision go? A lot of people, like Vivek, expect that decision to happen today. So let's look at some of the data. So this is a simple little table, very crude, but it looks at what I call the weighting criteria. Shout out to Sanjay as well, who helped assemble this table, get it to me this morning. The market cap and size, first of all, huge impact. So NASDAQ, you could argue, need MicroStrategy addition to help increase their returns on the NASDAQ 100, assuming, of course, the Bitcoin price continues to go up. This means having a large market cap and size is very favorable for inclusion. If you look at the sector classification tech, the impact positive, strength is high. Yeah, we're kind of good there. The NASDAQ listing, again, impact would be huge for both the QQQ NASDAQ. Being classified in the tech sector, of course, helps, but not as strongly as the market cap. Remember, this puppy ranks number 40 now on the list of top 100 companies in the NASDAQ. Okay, now there's another few items here as well. You've got the Bitcoin-focused valuation. You could argue the impact is negative. Having a focus on Bitcoin or similar assets might hurt its chances. But the strength, obviously, is somewhat important, but not as critical as others. Risk of reclassification as a financial company. The impact, low. There's a slight disadvantage if there is risk of being reclassified as a financial services company. Could that happen after the fact? I don't know. Could it be argued as a technology? Yes, I argued that a few minutes ago. So the strength of this case is low. And then the administrative perception, the impact is variable. This could go either way. 76% likely they will get added, 24% no, per the betting markets. But we'll see. And it's moderately important. So where this all goes, being too focused on Bitcoin could be a drawback, though not as significant as the positive factors. And the risk of being reclassified as a financial company isn't a huge concern, in my opinion. And administrative perceptions are somewhat unpredictable, but still relevant to take into account. So let's look at some other stuff. This is from Bloomberg. MicroStrategy checks all the boxes for inclusion. That's per Bloomberg. That's from James Seyfert and many others who know what's up. But then people say, well, they have too much debt. Is that a risk for MicroStrategy and inclusion? Let's look at that right now for a second. And this is I think this is from Matt. Matt, I think, posted this. It's a really cool table that gives us the perspective of MicroStrategy debt. So the MicroStrategy firm, and people always say, oh, they have debt, I can't buy, it's too dangerous. But they carry about $7.2 billion of convertible debt. Much of it is at a very low or zero interest rate. In fact, there's rumors that some of the convertibles that they will issue next may be at a credit. People will pay to get exposure, which is nuts. But this, to put things in perspective, this is the equivalent of owning, say, $1 million home. And good luck finding $1 million home in California, for example, with a $180,000 mortgage. That's 18% loan to value, which is extremely low. Many CFAs, CFPs, etc., believe you could have your home residence levered up to 20 to 1, which means 5% down. Okay? So bear that in mind, everybody. A lot of the 0 down, 5% down mortgages, even 10% down mortgages for a primary residence. This puts things in perspective that the leverage right now for MicroStrategy is about 6 to 1, not 20 to 1. So it's totally manageable. And the fact that the rate on it is, the blended rate is 0.48% is a nothing burger, everybody. Very easily manageable in terms of paying interest. Now, we did have big news this week. Microsoft said no, and MicroStrategy says yes to Bitcoin. The question is, who's in your pocket? And that's enough of that one. But one thing that is very important is for Michael Saylor here. We have seen the most extraordinary corporate pivot in the history of the planet, turning a software company into the largest corporate owner of Bitcoin, $43 billion of holdings right now. It has become a leveraged proxy bet on the future of money, which is Bitcoin. So let's check on the price right now. MicroStrategy is $397.50. Bitcoin, 100,764. It just fell about $800 since I started, but that's no big deal. It's volatile. It moves around plus or minus 1 or 2% a day. Now, back to my video earlier this week, the price impact analysis. If they do get added within the first day, it's funny, the day one price increase could take the price to $395. At the time, the price of MicroStrategy is $373. So that's the existing slide from earlier this week. So it has gone up a bit already in anticipation of this. And remember, look at these players here. They know something's up. They are stacking now. And yes, they will sell their bags to the QQQ fund managers when the time comes, if they get added. Day 2, price increase to 409. Day 3, 423. And if there's a short squeeze, we go straight to $444, everybody. We'll see if that happens. Let's look at the chart real quick. This is MicroStrategy and ATR. When I took that screenshot, it was a few minutes ago. It's fallen $2 since then. It's now $399. No, $1.50. There we are. It's volatile, but the point is it's looking to break out. Chart looks very strong. And we'll see where we go from here. Thank you all for coming. Substack is available for all of these, and podcasts for all of these videos. If you're interested, hit the like and subscribe. I'll be back later today with Friday Fire, talking about all the good stuff that's happening in the world, what's happened this week, and the forecast for next week as we get closer to Christmas. It is Friday, 13th of December, 7:30 in the morning. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a good day. Bye-bye.